I was looking at animal pictures on the internet, and I saw a couple of pictures of penguins, and I thought, that is an animal asking to be made over a light bulb. So I'm going to show you how to make this little dude using a light bulb as the base. Ordinary light bulb. You'll realize that if you like doing this kind of sculpture, you will start collecting your light bulbs as they blow, and you'll keep them somewhere. I have a little collection of them. So just a standard light bulb. You don't have to go out and buy a new one. Wait till one goes in your house. The first thing I did to prepare this was I wanted to get rid of these ridges. Now you could do that in the process of covering it with your base clay. But what I did is I took a little bit of the ultralight Sculpey. You can take any. I just thought, the less weight the better. So I grabbed a little bit of ultralight Sculpey and made a little cap for it to hide all the ridges, so that it just would cover smoother in the long run when you were covering the base with your clay. So I will show you how I did that. I just grabbed a little bit of ultralight. If you haven't worked with this, it's kind of cool. It kind of feels like a marshmallow. You can see it doesn't smooth together the same way that regular does. It does, but it takes a little more effort. It doesn't naturally smooth together. So it's a little bit different to work with, but it's really cool. It's very lightweight compared to the others, and it's a good base filler for a lot of things. If you're going to do heavier pieces, you can use it as the base for beads or whatever. Anyway, I just put it over. It does not grab exactly the same as a regular, say, Prima would have stuck there. This doesn't. It almost feels like it's covered with cornstarch. But just work it, and it will warm up and become more pliable, and it will cover the surface. Now I find I do get a lot of bubbles when I'm doing this. Even though I put it down and I compress it. Well, when I was really doing it, I compressed it slowly, but you'll see as you push that there's actually air in there. So just take your little needle tool or whatever and find that pocket of air and poke a hole and release the air by pressing out like that. So you want to work that a little bit. At the end, you don't want this to be a sharp cutoff, because when you cover it, that ridge will show. So I really took the time and smoothed it. I kind of, graded it down there so that it was more of a smooth seam rather than a definite cutoff line, just so that that bump there won't show when you cover it. All right? So you're going to take a little bit more time and smooth that off, and then bake that. And here's a little mini bulb. I'm going to make a little mini one to go with them, where I already did this. This is baked. And you can see where I smoothed it more, so it's less of an obvious end there. Next thing you're going to do is use your base clay to cover it. And I'm peeling it off here. There we go. You want a pretty thin layer. There's really no need for this to be super thick. So this is actually like a number 5, and with 1 being the thickest on my particular machine. So I found the easiest way to wrap it is just come in here. You want to take care to press into this little indentation here, because that's where a typical place you'll trap air. So pay attention going around there. And wrap it through, and actually this is going to act just like when we do beads and we are doing like a jelly roll or something, and we get to the end and we tap it to draw that line to see where to cut our clay. We're going to do the exact same thing here, where you roll it and tap it. Oops. Well, hopefully your clay won't be this warm and it won't stick like that. But you can see where I kind of drew a line here, and that's where I'm going to cut. You don't really want to overlap. If you I lost the line over here, but you don't want to overlap much if you don't have to, because, well, that didn't quite work, but yeah, it did. You can see you don't really want to overlap there because it's just another ridge of extra clay you're going to have to end up smoothing out. So try and get it just so they butt up to each other. And that kind of stuck there, but it did follow the line generally. You can see I'm just lining it up rather than overlapping. And it worked up here. And butting up the pieces. And you're going to get to the top, and that's just kind of excess we can cut off. Don't need that. At the bottom, some excess we can cut off. And you'll probably end up with a little more as you push and pull. But anyway, that's the basics. Just one wrap around. You want to smooth that seam. You want to finish off the top, and again, that's a place that's typically going to trap air, so you want to be aware of that. And like there's a bubble in there, you can just put a little hole and release it by pushing, so you're pushing the air out of that hole. And just take a couple of minutes to smooth that off. And you're gonna take your time and get that nice and smooth. Once that's on, you can roll it like you're smoothing a bead and get some of those fingerprints off. Now I went ahead and I do have fingerprints on mine. If you really want to be meticulous, at this point you could just stop, bake this, and sand it. So it's actually, before you add this other stuff, so you can actually get around in all the areas, you can stop and sand it right now. You can wait and do it at the end too, but if you want to sand to get the fingerprints off, you'll just have a little harder time going around all these things. But in general, you can definitely do that if you want to. So you're going to take a little time to do that. Here we're back to a big one, which I have already covered. All my smoothing I just got rid of when I picked it up and put dents in it. But anyway, you get the idea. You have a nice covered light bulb.